Is Japan's currency crisis about to send XRP to $1,000? You've probably seen this story everywhere in the XRP community lately. The yen is collapsing, the so-called reverse carry trade is about to unwind, and XRP is supposedly the savior that rockets to four figures. So let me give it to you completely straight, the way only this channel will. That specific story is wrong. And not just unlikely wrong, it actually gets the whole thing backwards, and I'm going to show you exactly why. But here's the twist that makes this video worth your time. While that hype narrative falls apart, something genuinely massive is happening in Japan right now, involving XRP and Ripple, and almost nobody is connecting it correctly. So today, I'm going to separate the two for you. Why the carry trade to $1,000 story is a myth, and the real, verified Japan story that actually matters for XRP. This channel is called Verified, and separating the signal from the noise is exactly what I'm here for. Let's get into it. One honest note first. Everything here is research and perspective to help you understand the situation, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and I won't tell you what to buy, sell, or hold. Do your own research, okay? Let's walk through it. So let's start by being completely fair to the crisis, because it is real. The yen has crashed to around 162 per dollar. That is its weakest level since 1986, basically a 40-year low. And here's how serious it is. The Bank of Japan just raised interest rates to 1% in June, the highest level since 1995, something most people thought was impossible just 2 years ago, and the yen barely even flinched. On top of that, Japan has already spent something like $73 billion this year trying to defend its own currency, and markets are now openly testing whether Tokyo has the firepower, or even the will, to do it again. So yes, make no mistake, Japan is under genuine, severe currency stress. That part of the story is absolutely true. Now let's talk about this carry trade everyone keeps mentioning, because understanding it correctly is the key to everything. Here's how it works in plain English. For years, investors have borrowed yen at Japan's rock-bottom interest rates, basically free money, and used it to buy higher-yielding assets somewhere else, like US Treasuries that pay much more. They pocket the difference. It's a money machine that works beautifully until it doesn't. When the gap between US and Japanese interest rates narrows, or when fear suddenly grips the market, that trade unwinds. Investors rush to sell those assets and buy back yen all at once. And here is the single most important part that the hype accounts get completely, totally backwards. When that unwind happens, it is not a rocket ship for risk assets. It is the exact opposite. We watched it happen in August of 2024. A carry trade unwind sent the dollar-yen pair crashing and wiped out 12% of Japan's entire stock market in a single day. And crypto got violently dragged down right along with it. So let me say this as clearly as I possibly can. A carry trade unwind is a threat to crypto in the short term, a correlated sell-off, not some magic switch that launches XRP to $1,000. So where does the XRP to $1,000 idea even come from? The theory goes like this. When the carry trade unwinds, there's a massive global liquidity crunch, and XRP, as a fast and cheap bridge currency, supposedly gets tapped to move all that trapped capital back home in seconds, creating enormous demand that sends the price to the moon. And look, I'll give credit where it's due. The underlying technology is real. XRP genuinely can move value across borders in seconds for a tiny fraction of the cost. But the idea that Japan suddenly routes trillions of dollars through XRP in the middle of a crisis and sends it to four figures? There is zero evidence of that actually happening, and when you think it through, it doesn't even make sense. A liquidity crisis is a panic, and in a panic, money runs toward the safety of dollars and yen, not toward a volatile crypto asset. So I'm going to be the honest voice in the room. The carry trade to $1,000 story is hype built for clicks. It's not just unlikely, it has the direction completely backwards. But here is where it gets genuinely interesting, because while that fantasy falls apart, Japan is quietly doing something very real that actually does involve XRP, and every bit of it is verifiable. Japan isn't only managing a currency crisis, it is deliberately rebuilding its entire financial system on blockchain. And just in the last few days, the news has been remarkable. Ripple's stablecoin, RLUSD, just officially launched in Japan, approved by Japan's financial regulator and distributed through SBI VC Trade, available to both institutions and everyday users. And in that very same week, SBI, a Japanese financial giant that is one of Ripple's closest partners, agreed to acquire the crypto exchange BitBank for around $289 million. That deal makes SBI the largest crypto exchange operator in Japan, with nearly 3 million accounts and roughly $6.8 billion in customer assets. And that instantly becomes a massive built-in distribution channel for RLUSD across Japan. And it goes deeper. SBI also just launched Japan's first trust bank-backed yen stablecoin. And here's a detail that matters specifically for XRP. The XRP ledger now holds more RLUSD on-chain than Ethereum does. Now zoom all the way out, and the picture is even bigger. Japan is reforming its crypto taxes to treat digital assets more like stocks, with a proposed flat rate far below the current rate, which can run as high as around 55%. Its central bank has been testing settlement on a blockchain. It's actively working to tokenize government bonds through a working group that includes names like BlackRock and SBI. And Japan's ruling party has approved a plan to build a next-generation financial system powered by AI and blockchain. So ask yourself, who are two of the biggest, most trusted names in Japanese crypto? Ripple and XRP. SBI alone holds one of the largest XRP positions anywhere outside the United States. So as Japan goes all in on building this new tokenized financial system, Ripple and XRP are being woven directly into the foundation of it. But here is the honest part I am absolutely not going to skip, because it's the whole reason you can trust this channel. All of this is genuinely bullish for XRP's long-term role, but it is a long-term infrastructure story, not an overnight price pump. And the proof is sitting right in front of you. Despite this absolute avalanche of real, positive Japan news, XRP's price has barely moved. So please, don't let anyone tell you this means XRP is about to explode next week. That is not how this works. Adoption and infrastructure get built slowly, quietly, brick by brick, over years. The price catches up later, not on command. So let's separate the two stories cleanly, because that is the entire point of this video. The yen crisis sends XRP to $1,000 narrative is a myth, and worse than a myth, it gets the direction backwards. Because a carry trade unwind would more likely pressure crypto in the short term, not launch it. But the real Japan story, RLUSD going live, SBI building an entire empire around it, Japan rewiring its whole financial system onto blockchain with Ripple and XRP embedded inside it. That is genuine, documented, and quietly one of the most important long-term developments for XRP anywhere on Earth. One of those stories is for clicks. The other one is for keeps. Watch the foundation, not the fantasy. One last reminder before I go. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Crypto is volatile and genuinely risky, and you should always do your own research before making any decision. My only job here is to give you the real picture, the documented facts, and the honest unknowns, so you can think clearly for yourself. If you appreciate getting the verified version instead of the loudest fantasy in the room, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. And tell me in the comments, do you think Japan's blockchain push matters more for XRP long-term than any short-term price prediction? Yes or no? I read every single one. Take care, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one.